Hello third graders, today we are going to be making a landscape or a seascape painting inspired by the book Sky Color by Peter H. Reynolds that we just watched a video or read. So to get started you need a white piece of paper, a black thick Sharpie, a white oil pastel, watercolor paint, so you'll need water and a paintbrush or two as well. With your white piece of paper, please write your first and last name and class code on the back of it with a pencil to start out. Alright, so the word that we are actually focusing on in this lesson, in our sky color painting, is the word horizon line. And a horizon line is what separates the land from the sky. So in Marisol's artwork that they did in the book, Marisol was in charge of painting the sky color, which was towards the top of the paper. And then there was also some water at the bottom of their paper for their mural. And the line that separates the sky from the water or the land is called a horizon line. And you all need to know what a horizon line is. Alright, so we are going to be drawing our horizon line a little bit below the halfway point of our paper. You want to make sure your paper is landscape style, so the long way. This way would be portrait style, how you would draw a person. We are painting and drawing right now landscape style. So we are drawing our horizon line, finding about the midway point. And the cool thing about horizon lines is that they do not have to be perfectly straight. A horizon line could be mountains, it could be a hill or a valley, or it could just be kind of wavy. It could also be flat. So I'm just going to draw in kind of a wavy horizon line around the middle of my paper using my black marker. Again, doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line, so go ahead and draw in your horizon line. So the horizon line is here, and this is putting our artwork into a place. It shows that above this line is going to be the sky, below this line is the land or the sea that we are in. And if you can have a horizon line in your artwork, it's going to show that you understand where your artwork is and that you know where the ground or the water is and where the sky is. Anytime you can put a horizon line in your artwork, that will make it even better. Alright, so next we are going to draw in a few waves to go below our horizon line. So anything below our horizon line is going to be the sea. So we're going to just draw some swirls in for our waves. And one thing, as the lower you get down on your paper, that means the closer things are to you. The higher up on the paper, the further they are away. So the sky's really, really far away. Horizon line's probably pretty far away, but these waves are what's closest to us. And then we would draw some smaller waves as we get higher up on the paper and closer to that horizon line because they're further away. Now my waves are getting bigger because I'm lower on the paper. You do not have to have the same number or types of waves as I do. Just draw in a few waves and maybe go over your waves that are in the front a couple of times to make them a little extra thick with your black marker. Just because things that are closer to you usually seem a little bit darker. Alright, so go ahead and draw in those waves if you haven't started already. The last part that we are going to add to this drawing before we get into our painting is a little bit of white oil pastel. We're going to add some white, just tracing over top of our waves to kind of add a white cap and a highlight where the sun might shine on them. So go ahead and kind of just trace over, go over top of the line that you have in black. I'm not covering up my black, I'm just going right above it with my white oil pastel. Then when we paint over this, the paint will not go where that white is and we'll have some white. And then you can also draw in some clouds. If you're going to draw in clouds, just make sure that you fill them in. I'm going to do kind of long, skinny clouds just to have a little touch of white in my sky color, but not a whole lot. So I'm just doing long skinny clouds with my white oil pastel, and you'll see how that ends up once I start painting. You probably can't see it right now, but make sure that you fill in and you push pretty hard with your white oil pastel when you do the white above the waves and the clouds. Okay, so now it is time to paint with our watercolor paint. So make sure you have a water cup half full, a paintbrush, and then you have your paints. The last time we painted with watercolors, we were doing more detail work and using smaller brushes and less water. This time, I want you to use a little bit more water and use your wider brush to do long, smooth, even brush strokes. Okay, so when you're choosing your colors, you're thinking about that book sky color. The sky does not have to be blue. Sky can be many, many different colors. And you should be thinking about skies that you have seen. Maybe you've seen a really pink or yellow-orange sky. Those are all warm colors. We know that the warm colors, red, yellow, and orange, go really nicely together. So that could be how you choose your colors for your sky. Also, cool colors go really well together. So you can use blue, but we're going to mix other colors in with our blue. So if you want to do a cool color sky, you could do a blue, green, and purple sky. You can do all kinds of colors in your sky. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do my sky and show you how to use the paint, but you do not have to use the same colors as me. I'm going to start with the lightest color that I want to use, so I'll start by getting my paintbrush wet in the water here and then swirling into my paint 10 times. I'm going to start with my yellow, and I'm starting up in my sky using long, smooth, even brush strokes. Then I might even just go back into my water to spread that paint out. And you want to go all the way to the edge of your paper. You'll have a newspaper underneath your paper, so don't worry about getting paint on that. So I'm just using quite a bit of water to really just spread this color out all the way across my artwork. Okay, then I can clean my paintbrush out, or I can keep it the same. I can keep some yellow on my paintbrush if I want to, because I'm going to go into orange next. I'm just going to lightly spread some lines of orange into my yellow. And because my yellow is still wet, anytime a color is still wet in watercolors, they will spread and kind of mix into each other. So I'm just adding some lines of orange into my yellow. I'm going to do some extra orange right at the bottom by the horizon line, just to make it a little bit darker at this point. Some extra orange down here. That's something that you could do, and then slightly as you go up, use a little bit less of a color. Okay, so I have my yellow and orange. Then I think I'm going to blend some pinkish purple here. Right here. I'm going to use quite a bit of water. If I don't want a color to be super bright, I will use more water and swirl less into that color. So I'm just adding some little spots of this pinkish color. Okay. And so these are all warm colors so far. I might add just a touch of this kind of teal blue color in here, where I just go in with some little areas of blue, and it's actually looking green because it's mixing with my yellow, and that's cool. I like that. Again, you can try any colors that you want. I suggest using quite a bit of water, and even after you put a color on, if it's too bright and it's not mixing with other colors, dip your paintbrush in water and spread that color out so that they mix a little bit more. Okay. One other technique that you can do is a little bit of splattering. So I got my paintbrush wet. I'm swirling into my red. If you want to splatter, just kind of let your neighbors know. You're going to put your paintbrush close to your paper and just gently tap it. And because, again, our paint is still wet in the background, it's going to spread. These splatters will spread, and this is where it starts to look like that sky color painting from the book that we read. So if you want to do a little bit of a splatter at the end, go ahead and do that. So there's my sky color. I think I'm going to stop there. You can use as many different colors as you want. I did mostly warm with just a touch of blue. That kind of looks green. Now when we do the water, I'm going to stick with mostly blue, and I actually like mixing my blue with a little bit of white and using quite a bit of water when painting in my water. So just doing long, smooth, even brush strokes over my water. If your brush starts to get dry and scratchy, just go back into the water and fill that in. And you can even leave some areas white in your water just to show a reflection of like the sun shining on the water. And I might do a couple areas with a little bit of a darker blue just to show a shadow on some of my waves here. And I'm going to keep my water pretty simple. Just because we have so much going on in the sky, I'm going to keep my water pretty simple. Just add a few shadows with a bit of a darker blue and have my blue get darker towards the front of my paper. And that's about it. If you wanted to, you could add a little touch of green in some areas just to have a change in color. That's up to you. But again, keep the water pretty simple and light. And that is your sky color seascape that we have just created. You had a chance to use what you know about the color wheel and mixing colors up here and trying some different techniques with your watercolors. So go ahead and put this on the drying rack to dry. And don't forget the main word that we're remembering today is horizon line. Awesome work.